What's up, everybody? So, it's kind of like an oddball, weird video to post, but I'm actually reviewing something that some people might actually be curious about. So, I ended up buying the Fluval 407. It's a 50 to 100 gallon series. Watched a couple videos online how to set it up. That's nothing at all close to what this is. It's more or less like me bitching about another company. Now, I used to use Marineland, and I have a pump, small one that I've had that I think it was like a 25 or 30 gallon pump. I still have it. It's currently burnt out. That I used to have for years, and my turtle tank, I'll show you. So my turtle tank, as you can tell, is pretty large. And one of the issues that I've had for years, and it's been actually sitting for about, since, what's today? Wednesday? So, Saturday, I think. Saturday. So about almost like 4 or 5 days without being filtered at all. Both pumps are not even hooked up. That pump down there, that's the small one that I've had for years, and you can tell that the primer is shot, and I have a water system I'll get to in a second. But this thing is completely shot. And this one I had bought, this was the other Marineland TS3. And ever since day one, this one just been a pain in the ass. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it was just faulty from the get-go. But when it runs, it runs like shit. And let's see. Make sure everything's still hooked up. That's down. Put that down so the water flows to it. And what we're going to do, because I'm going to be switching out that pump today. It's like the nightmare of wire. I listen to it. It does that periodically, and then it'll kick back in. It'll start running again. And as soon as you start thinking that it's running good, it will sit there and constantly make this like airlock issue. And I've gone through it over and over again with the gasket. It just will do some of the craziest shit that makes absolutely no sense. And then it'll just bog out. Of course, now it just made the tank more of a mess than it was already before. So I kept trying to fight with it and change out filters and clean it and do all that fun miscellaneous crap, and I really just got fed up with it because it wasn't really doing what I wanted to do, and a lot of times it takes almost like half an hour to an hour just to get it primed, following the proper procedures of it. And after a while, that shit will just irritate the shit out of you. I shouldn't be using a knife. You know, a box cutter. Open. See, I literally haven't even touched it yet. I finally came in yesterday, but I was too tired to even attempt it. So I figured, let me knock this out of the water today. Put that away from my face. It's tight in there. It's taped in 9 million spots. At least now I know it wasn't open before. That's always good. See you later. Alright. Always make sure you drop everything too. It makes things work a lot better. Alright, you got your booklet, and you got your miscellaneous paperwork in the bottom of it. What's this? Attention. That's cool. The warranty of it. It says, limited time offer. Register your '07 series filter online within 30 days of purchase, and the Fluval will extend your warranty, your current 3-year warranty to an additional 2-year warranty for a total of 5 years. Extended warranty is subject to provisions outlined within the standard 3-year warranty, blah, blah. That's pretty cool. So I'll save that for later. Alright. So, like any filter, you always want to look at it for damage, especially when you get it shipped to you. It has nice little rubbers on the bottom. You know it's going to be nice and stable. Little to no effort to pop it, so I like that. Push down on both sides, it pops right up, which is nice. Never pull up on your control piece on top, which is your primer, because that's always the first thing. So I always try to put my finger in like one of the holes just to get it up a little, and just slowly slide it straight up and out. I like that versus the marine ones, because you go to pull the cover off. The marine ones, like half the whole filter unit comes with you. This is telling you, please remove everything and clean it. Okay, simple enough. So you always kind of remember when you're looking at it exactly how things go. There's no arrows on here whatsoever that show you exactly where things go. But the only thing that is cool is that only on one side of it is where the emblem of 407 goes. It doesn't have it on this side at all. There's no cutout. So it kind of makes it idiot proof, because you see here the 407 badge only goes on one side. So that's kind of cool. Okay, got a nice little cover. This one's pretty neat because it also has a pull tab for your filter, and then this has a little tab too. So this whole unit pulls out nice and easy. I'm going to rinse that quick. And then this you just pull up like that, and it all stays together. Now that I like pretty much a lot more than I did with the marine ones. Is the marine ones, each one came out by themselves. This has a nice little holder, as you can see, that it sits in with. And inside it has the channel, so it's, yet again, it's that idiot proof. You know exactly where everything's going to end up going back in. So I'm going to put this to the side. Let's see. Take a pan so I don't get water all over my table. I'm going to rinse these quick. Nothing fancy, just, you know, any manufacturing dust or any packaging and stuff, it's always good just to rinse it so the less chemicals and miscellaneous crap that ends up in your tank. Okay, I'm just going to take that and toss it right back in. So it's that like this with the blue side facing out and the white side facing in. And that's it. That's right there. That's all nice. Okay, so that's in there. So that's good. Next one we're going to go through is each container. Now let's see how the containers come apart. They just slide off. Oh, nice and easy. I always like to try to keep them in order. So when you go to put them back together, it's really nice and easy. This slips right out, so you're always going to have this first, this, and this. Okay. I'm going to look inside the filtration here. It definitely has a lot of nice layers in here. Layers of miscellaneous. Take these all out. Now, I want to see. Alright, so if you accidentally mix up your trays, it doesn't matter, they all have that cutout on the bottom of them. Right there. That the bottom of this goes into. So it's not the end of the world if you take all the stuff out, you forget which one it goes into. All these trays are exactly the same size. It's not like, yet again, with the marine ones, they all kind of like interlock together, and sometimes if you don't have them interlocked together correctly inside the inside of there, then it becomes like a nightmare for trying to do anything. Nothing interlocks, it's like half-ass on and half-ass not connected. Because that was always my issues with the marine ones, is every time I go to put them back together, I'm constantly like fighting the battle of stupidity, this is perfectly cut, so you know exactly which direction it's going to go into. So you're going to know that goes in like that because it was flat, facing up. Push that inside. This was over it, like such. Put the other black sponge in there. Push that down. The white one back on top. Preferably facing the same direction. And put them. That's interesting. Just looking at something. Alright. My imagination. Good. Okay. And now you can start building your stack again. Slip it through. Just like that. So I'm going to go through them all. Cut the bags open. Rinse them quick. Plop them on top. Keep the flow train going. But you always want to wash out your stuff because you can see like all the particulates that are in there. And like I said, you know, sometimes you don't wash them. You kind of just rush and throw it together, and then you throw it in the tank, and then you go to run it, and then you know you're seeing all this blackish, whitish water kind of leaking into your tank. And you're wondering where it's from, and it's because you just didn't clean out your filters. And just like that, slip it onto the other one. And it sits nice. Sits right inside of it. It's got this that little red guide tab, I'll call it. That really kind of just makes it so much easier and more user friendly. Just like that. So nice and simple. Alright, what's in this? So we got another one. Step bags, and it's got 2 sponges that go on top. It's like a double carbon. I don't open them over the countertop because I don't want the black carbon all over my countertop. FYI to anybody who decides to do this. Pop that guy right on top, sits nice and perfect. Got the little phosphate remover. Once we've actually cut the bag. I'm going to give this a nice little rinse as well. Put it all back together, and we're going to piecing this thing up. Okay. Alright, so now I got that. Put those in the correct position. Such. Okay. Cover. You can always put on now. You can't grab it. Grab it like this. You got your little handle. Make sure which way you're going to place it in there. Just like that. Alright, so I'm going to put our cover on, like such. A little bit of a tight fit. Alright, just making sure I put it in the right spot. Yeah, a little tight squeeze. Get them on there. So now the next thing you want to do as you're prepping it is you got your top unit of it. Put you off to the side. Move you right this second. You got your box of many things. In your box of many things, luckily, no staples on it. You just slip it right out. One staple at the top. That's not the end of the world. It has nice little instructions for you. Biggest thing you're going to want to grab right now is the gasket. So you can put this together. Here. Now a lot of them, they tell you don't clean the gaskets because they're like a little oily. That's exactly what you don't want to do, is clean it. Because you're going to lose its natural sealing oil. Just want to make sure I'm going to put it in the right groove. Make sure I get it seated the right way. Okay. Put the gasket over. There's a little nice stretch to it. Don't overstretch it. Hey, there you go. It actually kind of just falls right into place. It's got like a nice little elasticness to it. Just make sure it's seated really nice in there, like such. So that's all good. Silicone ring oil by Fluval. Shows you in case you need it down the line. You know, it comes separately. But that was the rest of the paperwork. Alright, so now we're going to put it back together. Here. So we don't need to actually fill these with water, which I found out was pretty cool watching a couple videos of guys assembling them and stuff. You didn't need to fill it full of water, which I thought was cool. Now let's see how it goes down. So we're going to make sure the down, give it a little shove. Make sure everything's straight. Such. Put the bottoms on, fold up, make sure everything grabbed. Oops. Alright, it's all nice and tight. Okay. I'm going to grab your valve section. This is where you're going to have to make sure. So this is your lock, and this is your water control. Just stick that in there like such. And that locks it right in. Done. I always like to keep this up until you actually start doing anything water-wise. Never have this down, otherwise you're going to start having issues. Let's see if I can get it to go down. Here we go. So if you have it in the down position while you're hooking this up, you're going to get air inside of it, and priming is going to be a major pain in the butt. If you do it now, it doesn't matter, it's full of air. But always have it up. If it's a little bit in the way when you're trying to do stuff, you can always move things around a little bit. Keep those screwed down so we don't lose them between here and the Netherlands. This right here is where your hose is going to connect to the side of your tank. What these are for. You got this is your water outlet, which connects all up into this. Then you have is your intake. The intake on here is really nice. I like it, especially for the turtle tank. It definitely has a nice reach, so that's really good, especially for the size of that tank. And pops off really easily. And it's got a little bowl inside. The other one didn't have that, so the bowl is going to actually help with suction. Plus, it's going to keep a lot of like the big particulates from actually getting inside. You know, such like, for example, like with the turtle tank. She'll shed every so often, and every so often a shell would go up into there and then collect the pipe. It's like you can't make this shit up sometimes. Start banging your head against the wall. And then here's your piping. Now the only thing I noticed that I saw online is that it does not come cut. You have to cut it yourself. So that's where it kind of comes down to where you really want to set this stuff up, because it's kind of like a one shot and that's it. But I ended up buying an extra hose set online when I bought this one, just in case I screwed up during the cutting process. just in case. I wasn't 100% sure how easy or how hard this was going to become, so I'm going to move this over to the other room, and we'll start with there. So about 20 minutes. Alright. Now we're back into wacky land. Now, the thing is here is that I have a floating platform that she's sitting on, where my intake hose is here, going through the platform, and I have the outlet going over there. I may or may not be using that anymore, that type of setup, but I have enough turn room here that I could just shift her platform over. It's not going to be in the end of the world for me. Filter over here. So let's have a little bit of fun. Now under the tank, I got a couple different things going on. One of the things I got going on, as you see down there, is with that pump I actually have a pipe that goes outside, is the way I drain the tank, and I used to use the pump by flipping the valves and using the power of the pump to actually pump the water out of the tank and go outside. And recently this pump decided to just shut off and stop working, and usually the pump was actually able to pump the water out as quick as my hose filled the tank. And guess where this leads to? For about 10 or 15 minutes my whole area, my whole carpeting area got flooded, and we've been dealing with it ever since. For the past like couple days. Hopefully that we don't have to rip the carpet up and deal with it, but luckily things are starting to dry up, and got some other things that have to go on to clean up the water. But luckily I don't think it was running for 15 minutes. It probably felt like 15 minutes. It was probably more like, 5 or 6 minutes, but still it was one of those situations that really was actually could have ended pretty badly with that kind of an issue going on. So I'm going to rip that one out, and then we're going to start setting up this next one in there. So one of the things I want to do is I'm going to move the turtle light off, get that out of the way. We don't need that falling into the tank. Top up. Ruby, if you don't mind so kindly. And perhaps we can just go the other way. Pull our hose out of the water so it stops backflowing. Okay. Grab some gloves. Ah, the fun part. Life is a dream. Alright, we got that. Alright. Can you tell? Looks like a nail on something here. Looks like a nail on. Alright. So let's get this wire out of the way, just for that. It's also always a good time if you feel like rewiring things, such as unplugging the light. Okay. We'll need this hose over here that doesn't go anywhere. Remove this hose. Normally it wasn't tied to the tank, the wire. I did that just to get it out of my way. I was fighting with stupidity. being stupidity train was chasing after me. Okay. That's tied to there. The other issue I had with this as well, and I think also age had to do with things, was that it also it leaked pretty bad. Now, I'm trying to minimize the amount of water hitting the floor again. So I'm actually going to just make sure all the valves are locked here and there. See, sometimes it doesn't want to lock itself in. It's like bound. Alright. I still hear water inside the hoses. So I'm going to take these away. I'll be right back. This shit. Come on. I don't want to pull up on the hose, but my luck will pop off. Okay, I got that out. Had that sitting there. Keep it up in the air, hoping that it would run again, but no such luck. Alright, I'm going to rope here. Just leave that to the side for now. Alrighty. And this wire runs for a heater. Position it right there. The right side hose, the far side hose is the in, and the inner side hose is the out. It's always a good idea to keep an eye on where your in and out is when you're doing anything. Leave that off to the side for now. Alright, so now we're going to be setting up our parts here. So they got this plastic holder you got to remove the cover on it. I think he said it just pulls straight up. Alright, that's how it works. Yep, you can pull the finger tabs. Your fingers want to work together. It's the cover for the pipe. Pipe covers. You want these set up before you start putting your hoses together, so you can know where you're going to route it. There's two tabs on either side. You release them and it just slides right up. Now you can also have, as well as your little gaskets, and these ones, all they do is they slip on, so you know that this thing's going to sit like such on the tank, so you know exactly where you're going to put them. And it has a little bit of a give to it, not much. You don't want to stretch it too far or you break it. But I'm going to slip those in. Okay, that's two of them. Put on there. Let's see, the other two. When you're done, the gaskets should both be facing one another. That's how you know you put them on the right way. So you can see the gaskets should be, or not the gaskets, the whatchamacallit, suction cups should be facing the same way. I don't know why I kept calling them gaskets. Gaskets on the brain, I guess. Alright, so now my tank has a big plastic lip on it. Now some tanks don't have a big plastic lip, but you can see there's a big lip on my tank. You can cut it and be Evel Knievel, or you can just slightly stretch it and try not to break the plastic clip. I'd say it has a decent amount, it has a little bit of give to it, but don't get too crazy. Alright, and just like that, it's over it. I'm just going to give it a nice little firm press. And because that is such a tight fit for this tank, as it is, I think that's pretty nice. I like to keep my pieces apart from one another. So that's good. So that's in there. So now I got this wire coming down. You're probably wondering what that's for. It's an electric heater for turtle tanks. It's an actual heater specified for turtle tanks. Alright, so now here comes the fun part. The hose that's connected to each other. So you kind of want to take them and stretch them out. Kind of try to straighten them a little. And that's where routing them is going to come into play depending on the distance of your tank. You know, mine's sitting on a big metal stand, so it kind of comes into play of exactly how you're going to route this thing. And this comes into really simple. The hose, the rubber part goes right into that red cover that we were looking at before. I want to screw it down all the way. Shove that in. Spin it and tighten it on. Okay. And put the other one on the other side of the post and try not to take out your Christmas tree if it happens to be right up the tank's ass. Which is kind of nice at being a little bit of a softer type of hose versus some of the other ones where they're kind of like this really solid pipe that, you know, you're swinging this big pipe around and you're knocking shit out.